Save the Semantics, episode 212. It is May 23rd, 2023. My name is Myro. This is the podcast where I ramble on for a bit about some shit. Once again, kind of an earlier in the week podcast episode. I might split this into two parts. Some things I want to talk about now, and then there's going to be some things that I want to talk about at the end of the week. So that's why I'm doing these. It's just nice. It's nice. I like talking about just random shit once in a while if I have the time and energy for it, which right now I happen to do, or happen to have. So yeah, that's kind of the plan for the time being. I'm a little tired today, mainly just because I slept like shit last night. It just happens once in a while. Once in a while, I just sleep like ass, and a lot of the time, it's on me. It's on me. I struggle sometimes to, put the phone down at night. It happens, and I obviously need to be better about that. So yeah, I'm a little tired today. I've been a bit tired for the last couple days, so I'm gonna try to improve my sleep. I'm gonna try to get better at my sleep for the rest of the week, and just be more consistent and not be so. I can't be staying up too late. I really can't. It honestly affects me. You know what I mean? I've said this a million times before. It's just really coming down to being diligent and all that shit, and being more. I don't know, just being a bit better about that kind of thing. Weather right now, I don't know why it matters, but weather right now is kind of It's funny because it was nice and sunny yesterday, and this past weekend it was real nice out, but now it's all cloudy and shit, which is okay. It doesn't mean it's too bad. I like this cool weather, you know what I mean? I like it kind of cool and shit. It's nice. I feel that I can wear some extra layers, but it's also in that in between where right now it should technically be almost summer, honestly. Like we had some hot weather recently. Not hot, debatable. It was like it was kind of in the 80s, right? So decently hot, not quite summer yet. Usually the earlier months of summer recently, I guess it's been really nice. It's been really nice for us. And then later on in like September, like late August and September is when it gets hot. At least that's what I kind of remember since like last year, you know what I mean? So I'm trying to enjoy as much as I can. I want to be out more. I want to be outdoors more. So that's why I like to record outdoors. I like being outside and shit because usually I'm cooped up. And I mean that just comes with the job. But I want to be out and about more. That's kind of what I really want to encourage myself to do when I have the time to do so, right? When I'm not super busy with work, I want to be out and about. And even when I am busy, I still kind of want to be, in other places outside of my work. I want to be, I don't know, I need different spaces for different things, you know what I mean? I just don't want to be, I like the comfort of my home. I like being able to relax and shit, but it is a lot of the same old. So I kind of want to, I don't know, I want to add a new routine that I can consider to be, somewhat healthy, you know what I mean? So I'm really going to try to join a gym sometime soon. I think that's in the works. I'm planning on just like a local gym that's pretty nearby. I've talked about this in the past. I've been like, oh, maybe I should go to the gym. Literally, I've been saying that for so long. Basically since college, really. In college I had a gym. It was shitty because it was so small and there's a limited space, and I rarely went. And even when I did go, I ended up just doing cardio, which is really just the same thing that I've been doing, that I can do outside of going there. So I really just want to commit to I want to have that in my routine. I do want to feel more in shape in a sense because I do feel my body is getting a little soft, a little jelly because I'm sitting, I'm sitting at my computer all day. It just happens, right? But I think adding that to my weekly routine of going to the gym however many times I'm gonna shoot for two to three times a week if I end up signing up. um so I it's just I really just gotta do it, you know what I mean? It's been too much of me being go, oh, maybe I should, just I think I should just give it a shot. It's just whatever, you know what I mean? I think I mean the big thing, the big deterrent for me has been kind of the cost of it. It's just like, ooh, the price of it is a bit steep, you know what I mean? Can I replicate that sort of workout space, kind of at home? It's a little difficult to do that, difficult. I don't really have too much space to have weights and shit like that. And also I just, again, I think it's just another thing of me sort of separating, having another space to do something else other than, you know, within other than just having a lived space, if that makes sense. I think that, I don't know, going to the gym, I can sort of, it's like this is another spot for me to go. That's, I can kind of see, just again, separate home, work, whatever, relaxation, general living, and then I have, the gym where I can work out and concentrate on doing that stuff, being physical, being active, that kind of thing. So I think it's just going to come down to me biting the cost, and if I really commit to doing it in, going there on a consistent basis, being routine, then I think it will be worth the cost. In my opinion, I haven't really done the math because like the monthly cost of it, there's like an entry fee and shit. I'm not a fan of that, but I get it. It is what it is. It's just sort of what the upfront cost of joining a gym membership is. So if I kind of break it down, if I try to shoot to go there, I don't know, 2 to 3 times a week, then it's like what, 12 times in a month. So it's about like it's like $4 or $5 per day that I go there. You know what I mean? It's like $5 for me to work out there every time I go, which is pretty good. I think that's decent, right? Because the other cost would be, I don't know, like $30, $30 to go there if I use like a daily thing. I think that 45 for a month is decent. I think it's a decent price. So I really want to. I really want. I want to do it. It's just been nagging at me for a while. I had a friend that kind of brought it up in conversation a little while back, and I'm like, yeah, you know what? I think I should just bite the bullet and go for it, and just give it a shot. I think that's just going to be. I think it will be worthwhile if I commit to it. So I'm going to try to go for it. I'm going to check it out. I'm going to check it out first before I, sign up for a membership. I think I just like walk in, ask about it. So I'll probably do that sometime this week or next week. And really, really try it out. And especially right now during the summer. Summer is like when I'm the least busy with work and stuff. So I really think that starting now and, if work picks up in, the fall for me, I will still be able to dedicate some time, maybe not as much time, but still some time going there. I can have that space for me to, kind of focus and just sort of, regain, regain some, I don't know, have a, be a little bit more athletic in that space. And, I also feel that it could also, I don't know, I'm sort of imagining how it will turn out. I feel that it could also improve my general sleep too, kind of tying it back to that. If I'm kind of planning to work out, my plan is to work out at night because I feel that works best for me. I am not an early morning person. I hate waking up early. That is just not my thing. It's sort of really dawned on me. I've come to realize that I dislike waking up early. So I think working out at night might suit me better. So I think I just want to figure that out. You know what I mean? So kind of keeping that, in the works. But I'm looking forward to it. I feel that would be kind of beneficial, and it'll be good to, again, have a separate space for that. Anyways, let's talk some basketball, since it's been a little bit since I've really kind of gotten into it. I know I talked a bit last time about, the Heat and the Nuggets, but let's get into it. I'm fully anticipating that the finals are going to be, and who knows, this might be a bit premature, but I'm anticipating that the finals are going to be the Nuggets and the Heat. The Nuggets swept the Lakers yesterday. I was able to tune into that game, caught kind of the back end of it. Lakers were up by like 15 or something after halftime, but the Denver they just kept going, man. They just were holding on strong, and they were able to get a stop on LeBron and on the final possession. It was a really good game. It's one of those tightly contested sweeps. You know what I mean? It's a very competitive sweep series. I think that, every game was relatively close. I think there was only one game that was in double digits for the Nuggets, but they got it, man. They got it. They're in the finals. Congratulations to Denver for making the NBA Finals for the first time. And I'm happy for their fans. I think they've been waiting for a long time, man. I think, the last time they were in the conference finals was back in 2009 or 10, right? I remember when it was Carmelo going up against Kobe, and the Lakers won that series. But that was the last time they had a chance on going to the finals. So now they just have to stave off the Heat, man. This Heat team. They're gonna play later tonight against the Celtics, with the chance to sweep them. We'll see how that goes. There's a part of me that still feels that series has the potential to be a 6-game series. I could still see it happening. You know what I mean? If the Heat kind of hold the foot off the gas and the Celtics are able to pull off a win. It's the Celtics aren't going to win the series. No team has ever come back from a 3-0 deficit, but it could still be, somewhat of a series. I think it's possible. But it's 3-0, man. At home and in Miami too. That's going to be tough for them, but I just sort of I anticipate the NBA Finals. It's going to start up soon. It's going to be starting up real soon, maybe within the next week. I mean, it is going to be within the next week, anyways. So I'll be excited for that. I like this matchup, man. I know I know the series isn't over, but it's basically over for the Celtics. You know what I mean? I'm really excited to see this matchup. I think it's an interesting one, man. I think that both teams. I mean, one is just, I don't even know what to really expect with the Heat. Like, I mean, they have taken such a commanding, they took out the Bucks in such a commanding fashion, and now they're up 3-0 against the Celtics, who has been really one of the best teams in the league. You know what I mean? You could argue the Bucks and shit, but but the Celtics beyond, they had a really hot start at the beginning of the season. Still one of the best teams in the league, and they're getting taken out by this team that got almost eliminated in the play-in. So it's something, man. I don't know what to expect with this team. It's just like all of a sudden shit just started clicking for them. It's just wild, man. I really need to look back on their run from first round onwards. The series against the Knicks was relatively competitive. It was 6 games. The Knicks made it, somewhat of a series, I think. But I feel that series, the result of that makes a little more sense than the other two. It's like, okay, you got this veteran team with Jimmy Butler going against kind of the up and coming Knicks team. They have vets in a sense too, but they are a very young team. If you look at the average age across the NBA, and if you kind of I guess compare it with all the other teams. I think they're like something like the third youngest team in the league or something like that, or maybe a little lower than that. But still, top 10 in youth, and I think that's really encouraging for New York if they're able to keep their core and maybe try to build upon that, get some experience. I think they got a really good thing going. I think it's a lot of exciting stuff going on. But I'm not surprised that the Heat were able to hold off. I think in that series, experience and just kind of them being a bit more tougher, mentally, helped them to, get past them. I think it makes sense in my head. You know what I mean? It makes sense in my head why that worked out. The other two, dude, it's so hard for me to I'm still trying to figure out the Bucks one. Obviously there was the Giannis thing. He was injured for like a few games, but still, that supporting cast should have been able to propel them past the Heat. Based off of the regular season, based off of the performances that we've seen, it's hard for me to see. So again, I think I would like to kind of take a look back at kind of the Heat run throughout this playoffs, because it's been nothing but it's been incredible, man. It's been really fun to watch. Kind of they were the number one team last year, but you could consider them a bit of an underdog this year because of their ranking and position and whatnot. But it's still really wild to watch. So I am really looking forward to that matchup against Denver. I feel that they sort of, I don't know about even necessarily. Obviously, you want to give the edge to Denver because of Jokic and that sort of thing, and their offense is incredibly, high octane and shit like that. They got way more. I feel much stronger weapons on their team in terms of shooting. But you don't know what to expect of the Heat, man. They're just sort of unexpected. So I think that's gonna, you got this rugged veteran team that's clobbered the best teams in the league. And then you got, the Nuggets, who's been clearly the best team out in the West, right? They've held off their own, they handedly beat the Timberwolves. Somewhat of a competitive series with the Suns, but ultimately, in Game 6, they beat their ass, and then they swept the Lakers. So, very, strong case to be made that they are worthy of the, first seed in the West. So, I think that it's going to be an interesting matchup. Jokic versus Adebayo, Jimmy Butler versus everybody else, right? So I think that that's gonna be a fun matchup, man. I'm looking forward to it. Once the Heat do beat the Celtics, which it might not be tonight. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. What else did I want to talk about? Did I really want to touch upon anything else today? I'm not really sure. I was gonna mention some Tears stuff. Oh yeah, there was one thing that I wanted to talk about with Tears of the Kingdom. There's this. It's just it's kind of a small thing, but I thought it would be, fun to just sort of bring up. But I beat my first Gleeok, which is those 3-headed dragons. My first time facing off one of them, I just got one shot every time. It was just I'm like, there's just no way to beat this thing. So I kind of, once I gained some hearts and some stamina and some weapons that could, weapons and equipment that would allow me to, face off against this thing, it wasn't too bad. I really kind of prepped up to beat this thing. And the fights are pretty fun. It's Earlier on, I wanted to kind of envision myself beating these things with, less hearts and shit like that, and weaker, just kind of being in a weaker state. I felt that would be more impressive, but honestly, it was just more stressful and a bit of a struggle to get to that point. So I was a bit, it was a bit more, I was able to more handedly beat one of them this time around. It was pretty satisfying. The fights are a lot of fun. There's a lot of things that I had to, I had to keep track of my arrows and my bows, and had to use some of the other mechanics, like I had to use rewind. I think that kind of came in handy for a particular point in that battle, and it worked out because there was more. The space that we were fighting in was more. What would you say? There were a lot more. There were structures and shit, so I could climb on them. So it was a bit easier to pull off bullet time, that sort of thing. So the other Guliak that I fought in was on the bridge, so there's less shit for me to kind of work with. I think in that case I would need to bring out and use the construct items to use a fan or use a rocket to fly around and shit, because I think that it's a little hard to pull off arrows and shit like that without using other items, I guess. But yeah, fun stuff, man. I think I've enjoyed these other monster fights. I talked, maybe, I don't know, I haven't really touched upon it, but there was another, I guess it's a bit, I don't know, it's a bit of a spoiler. I don't know, maybe I don't know if I really want to get into it, but there's a fight with a particular enemy in a particular area that was really hype, and this was kind of earlier on. This is like day 3 of me playing the game. That fight was it was stressful because I didn't have that many hearts and my weapons and shit. I didn't know, this is my first time facing off against this enemy, so it was exciting. I felt the thrill of it and shit, so that was a lot of fun. And I'm hoping there's kind of other moments like that later in the game. Maybe some other bosses from the other temples. I think could be a fun challenge. I'm thinking, I'm trying to move maybe into like the next area that I want to explore to sort of progress the story, and then kind of see how that goes. But it's the struggle of wanting to progress the story, but not too much, because then it just means that I'm getting closer to the end of the game. So it's really just wanting to do other shit before doing kind of the main story. That's really been my philosophy with this game, and honestly Breath of the Wild as well. It's just really doing all of the other side content and enjoying that to the extent that I can before I want to progress the story. So maybe next time I'll make small incremental steps towards getting to the next storyline. But again, it's been a really incredible experience. I've been having so much fun with it, and I can't wait to experience more of it and talk about it. That's probably going to be it for this part of this week's episode. Again, just gonna do another check-in of sorts later in the week, or end of the weekend, to talk about some shit. Probably talk some basketball. I might do a bit more in-depth stuff talking about the potential final series. At that point it could just be the finals. Finals have already begun, so excited to get into that. So yeah, on to the next part. Alright, it is now May 29th, 2023. It is a Sunday that I'm recording this. No, it's not. It's a fucking Monday, dude. What am I doing? It's Memorial Day. It's Memorial Day weekend. Dude, I'm losing my shit. It's a Monday today. I've had a nice little 3-day weekend. And I gotta have a shorter rest of the week, which will be nice, because that's always nice when your work is shorter and you don't have, you have less expectations for the rest of the week. That's nice. I'm looking forward to that. So yeah, it's a Monday, and I'm just chilling right now. It's pretty busy out and about. Had some lunch earlier, drinking some matcha latte right now. It's pretty good. Nice little closer after lunch, if that's what you would call it. And I'm just chilling, man. I'm just chilling right now. Might go for a run a little later today, because I think that'll be good. And yeah, just enjoying myself the most that I can. I am feeling kind of off today. I don't know what it is, but I'm like not in a particularly great headspace. I'm not doing super great. I'm just sort of, I don't know, got this kind of brain foggy shit going on. I don't know if it's a lack of sleep or too much sleep, and then on top of that, just, I don't know, the weather could be a lot of contributing factors, but yeah, today's been just kind of a off day for me. But I'm still trying my best to enjoy what I can, do the most out of it, drink my water, which I probably should do. I haven't drank enough water today. And just do the most that I can with what energy that I do have. Yeah, just not super on point today, but again, it's okay. It just comes and goes. Let's get into the basketball shit first. So I spoke too soon. Last week I spoke too soon. Although I did say that there was the potential for the Celtics Heat series to become a 6-game series, and I wasn't 100% wrong on that. I was a little off. The Boston Celtics are now going to be playing Game 7 tonight against the Miami Heat after down 3-0. They have now come back and have the potential to do to create history, to do something that's never been done. Come back from a 0-3 deficit in NBA history, at least, which is pretty wild, pretty crazy. Listen, I was pretty certain that this series is over. Now it could go either way, really, right? Which is pretty crazy to say. But I think a lot of people were writing off the Celtics a little too early. I mean, you could throw myself in that bucket too, but I still had some more confidence. I feel like I had a little more confidence that they could make it a series. And now it's a fucking series, dude. Now it's a 7-game series. Game 7 is later tonight. I might be tuning in. We'll see. I don't know. It depends on how I feel. I haven't really been watching the other games. I'm just sort of like, as incredible as this run for the Celtics have been, I'm waiting for the finals. That's sort of where my head is at. I'm like kind of like taking a step back. It's been maybe like a week or so since I've really watched basketball. I'm waiting for the finals. That's sort of my that's what I'm anticipating for. I think that's sort of where my headspace is at. But I might tune in. We'll see. That's kind of crazy. It's some crazy shit going on right now in the finals, or in the conference finals. So anything can happen. It could be it's going to be a heartbreak either way. So it's like one of the either fan base is going to go through some shit, you know what I mean? I mean, the Heat fan base is going through some shit right now. The Celtics are, there's just probably they're incredibly just hyped and excited for what could happen. It could be history, or it could be disappointment. So it's going to be devastating either way. That's like the big draw for me. That could be the big draw for me to tune into the game. But man, it's just the anxiety of that shit is a lot, man. This shit is palpable. So, yeah, it's, you can almost disregard everything that I've said last weekend about the finals matchup, because that could all change tonight. And really the only thing that's applicable is my thoughts on the Nuggets. I mean, they're just chilling right now. They're just probably just like, yeah, man, I mean, this is cool. They got, both teams, 7-game series. They're gonna be tuckered out by the end of it, right? They're gonna have less energy than we do. We've had one sweep, we've had a 5-game series, we had a 6-game series, but now we're just chilling right now. So the real winners are the Nuggets, really. Of course, you really don't know until the finals start up, but still, I think they're in a pretty good, they're in a pretty great position to be, right? I mean, they've just been icing their knees and just like, chilling in an ice tub, and maybe relaxing a bit, maybe catching up on some video games, maybe like Tears of the Kingdom if they're into that, right? Like, they got time. They got a lot of time to just kind of relax and stuff. So, yeah, so Game 7's tonight. Again, we'll see how I feel about tuning in. But that's the state of affairs right now in the NBA, which is kind of wild shit. There's been a lot of coaching changes too, which is not as interesting. I mean, it is interesting for sure. There's a lot of, the Bucks hired Adrian Griffin. Today, the Sixers hired Nick Nurse, which is a very interesting hire considering their history and the team's history. So yeah, a lot of moves happening. There's going to be probably some shakeups, but playoffs are the big thing. You got the draft. You got Wembanyama going to the Spurs. That's pretty big. It's going to be interesting, man. Next year's going to be pretty interesting as well, but we still got to finish up this season. Other than that, let's talk a bit more about gaming. I've been of course playing Tears of the Kingdom. Finished up my second shrine this past weekend, more or less. It was a good time. I'm like trying to figure out I'm at a point in the game right now where, what am I? I would, halfway-ish through the story, more or less, I would say. I would argue maybe halfway through the story, in a sense. I think that I'm trying to figure out, I think it's, on a daily basis what I want to do when I boot up the game, or if I boot up the game. What are the objectives I want to, do. I mean, most of the time it's just me starting up something and then getting distracted by something else, right? It's like, I'm going to do this quest, and then I find a shrine. Or, I found this shrine, maybe we'll put this to the side, because I see, a enemy in the distance that I want to fight, right? So, it's always, some extra distraction. But now that I've kind of gotten into the flow of the game and sort of what to anticipate, I'm trying to I'm sort of trying to map out the rest of the game in a sense. I have an idea of, I have a good idea of what to expect in terms of the main story. But everything else is gonna kind of be, it's gonna be something that I'm trying to figure out. Do I want to prioritize, mapping out all of the 3 areas, or do I want to, focus on doing individual quests, or focus on doing, finishing up certain areas? Because I've tend to just jump around a lot, and this was kind of my experience with Breath of the Wild too. So that really, that experience hasn't really changed all that much with Tears, but I'm trying to figure out if I want to be focused and hone in on certain areas, or if I'm okay just kind of continuing to just jump around back and forth across wherever the fuck, you know what I mean? So Yeah, it's like, do I want? Yeah, it's like, do I want to have like a preset goal of what I want to do, or am I just gonna go kind of go with the flow of things? It's sort of like what I'm trying to trying to figure out, I guess. But uh, again, this is like a common, common theme or common notion that I have in regards to games and completing games is that when I end up finishing the game, like the main story, I have a difficult time jumping back into it. Um, there are some exceptions for sure, but that's kind of the case with most games that I've played. Is like once I finish the main story, like once that through line is complete for me, I have it's a little difficult for me. It's a little difficult for me to jump back into it because there's like sort of a less incentive in a sense for me to dive back in because the story is complete. It's like, okay, well, I mean, there's all this other side stuff, but does it contribute to the overarching plot? You know what I mean? That's just kind of how I go about things. So yeah, but still been really enjoying it, having a lot of fun with it. I've also, as sort of a side game, because I can't just, I've I've been playing a lot of Tears of the Kingdom for the last couple of weeks. But I need to supplement that with something else. So I actually dove back into Xenoblade 3. I've pretty much like 100%ed the DLC for that, and that was fun. I think it was easy to do that just because everything was already like marked up. Like you had like the areas that you for exploration. There's like five like goals that you need to complete in order to kind of get like 100% in that sense. It's very easy to track, and I like that a lot. Yeah, it's like there's a goal. There's like 100% goal for exploration, for the Enemypedia, which is logging all of the enemy types. The Collectopedia, which is all item types. I think there was one for killing combat goals, which is completing or defeating all of the unique monsters. And then there was, what was the last one? I think the last one was just, I think I already said exploration, right? I forgot what the last one was, but it was sort of tied in with like exploration or affinity. I think it was like affinity scenes or something like that, or maybe that's what that's within along the same lines as exploration. But five, more or less like I think it was like five goals to 100% kind of the game, and then there's the characters where you can max out their weapons and then their their skills and whatnot. I think I'm missing like one skill. I'm like I don't really know how to get that because like I don't have any more. I don't have enough like points to max out, so I'm like trying to figure out if there's like a way to do that. But for the most part, I've like 100% of the game. I think that's like the first time that I've like done that. It was like very clearly that I've like done everything that I possibly could in a game, which is rare for me. I don't think I've really ever done that. So that was fun, man. That's cool. There's a real, I think it was easy for this because the scale of it is much smaller than the base game. It's very easy to follow. You know what you need to do in order to complete everything and max out your lists and everything. So doing this in the DLC, I felt was pretty satisfying. I know it's not necessarily going to be the case where 100%ing a game is going to feel, like rewarding as, for like other games and stuff, but for this it felt really nice. It felt really rewarding, and I'm happy that I kind of went through with it. So I once I did that, I've gone back into the base game, and now I have kind of the intention of 100%ing that as well. I'm not gonna. It's gonna be, it's gonna be a whole process. You know what I mean? Like, I might end up doing like a new game plus, if I, even if I don't 100% it. But I really want to try to do everything. in the game. There's so much still. Like, it's wild. I've already logged over like 220 hours in the base game, and there's still just so much more shit that I can do, which is crazy. There's like the gem crafting that I could max out. There's there's all the quests that I still have. There's the affinity goals for all of the colonies, which I've been kind of working on. So far I've I've maxed out like 5 colonies, I think, which is pretty good. So maybe like 5 more after that. So yeah, that's probably going to be a bit of a process, but I'm surprised that I've actually made a bit of I've made more progress than I kind of anticipated. Yeah, so I think plan for Xenoblade, I guess, is plan is to like 100%, everything that I can with my current save file, and then go back and do. I think it might be difficult actually to do everything, but I think I want to at least do the quests and the affinity goals and maybe the gems. I think that's probably what I'm going to do. The classes might be a bit difficult because that's going to be pretty time consuming. So I'll see how far I can get with that. I could use like the Nopon coins to get everybody to level 20 for all of them, but that could be a lot. So I'll see how I feel about it. And if I don't get to that point, then it's not a big deal. But I'll at least try to do all the quests that I can is sort of where my head's at. There's just so much in that game. It's crazy, man. Like, I was just like, damn, there's like a whole. I was sort of half paying attention because I was like listening / like watching like a YouTube or I think Twitch stream or something like that kind of at the same time, because I wasn't like, when I'm doing these sort of 100% goals, I'm really just kind of grinding. I'm like kind of going through the motions and stuff. But there are some really interesting storylines and quest lines in the game that you kind of miss out on if you aren't, if you don't have the intention of doing everything, which I didn't, going through the first playthrough of it. I did the most that I could, and I tried to get all of the heroes, but the individual quest lines, there's some really interesting ones. A lot of them do reiterate a lot of the same main themes that the main story kind of talk about. So it can feel a bit repetitive at times, hearing kind of the same ideas kind of being used in some of these other smaller quests that don't have doesn't have an effect on the overall plot. But I still think there are some really interesting things in there. Like, I just did one recently. This is back. It was at a very early state. It was at a very early part of the game. And there's this one character who appears in one cutscene in part of the main story, and he has a pretty large role in this specific quest. And it's interesting. Like, there's like a specific scene where him and Mio kind of like butt heads, or he's more like, being, he's being very aggressive towards her, claiming that her colony killed his friend or whatever. So there's like a kind of a, so that quest kind of follows up on that storyline and, follows up on his character, and you get a little bit more insight into his character and, where his, headspace is at and everything like that. So it's interesting, man. Each of these, like, if you really delve into it, if you really want to do everything and you pay attention to, specific storylines, there's a lot to get out of it. There's a lot, man, but you got to put in the work for sure. It does ask a lot from the player, in terms of completing, certain goals and that sort of thing. I think there are some really interesting stories in there, though. So, I'm not like hyper fixated or focused on, what these specific, quests or whatever side quests really entail, just because I've gotten, emotionally, I would say I've gotten a lot already out of the game. I think I've gotten what wanted to. So I'm not as invested in the side quests. I'm not like, meticulously going over like the dialogue and that sort of thing. But once in a while, there's some interesting commentary here and there. So, it's cool to see. Again, it's just sort of like it's just more of a completion thing for me right now. Is really just wanting to do everything that I can before doing a second run. And so I'm trying to kind of do that. And that's sort of that's kind of my supplemental game at this point, 2 Tears of the Kingdom. If I get a little, it's like I don't want to I have gotten, I don't play Tears like all day. You know what I mean? I have done that, like when it first launched and when I first got the game. But I've sort of I've sort of slowed down a little bit once I've hit like the 50+ hour mark of Tears of the Kingdom. I gotta kind of pace myself and not do too much. But I don't really, however people want to play it, I don't have any judgments at all. So yeah, that's kind of what I've been doing with my games. Other than that, what else? It's been quiet, like it has been. My life in general is pretty quiet, which is, is all right. But yeah, I think it's kind of been it for this week. I'm gonna try to enjoy the rest of today, and then just a quick mention, following up on the gym thing that I talked about last time. I'm gonna be joining. I joined the gym, so I'm gonna try to be consistent going to it. I'm gonna try to push for 3 days a week. That's gonna be a challenge for sure, but I'm gonna try. I think it will be worthwhile in the long run. I think that I just want to get in good shape. I'm in okay shape right now, but I'm not as active as I want to be, and I think that having a place to really focus on being stronger and just being more active in general is going to help out a lot. So I'm going to try my best to stick through with that plan, and I'll be starting tomorrow. So I'm going to follow up on that. I'll probably talk about that and see, how I feel and that sort of thing next week. I'm assuming, just because I have that plan laid out, most likely, I think I'm probably just going to do a single most likely shorter episode next week. So, stay tuned for that. Anyways, appreciate you for tuning in. Thank you very much. This has been Save the Semantics, signing off.